Assalamu alaikum. So now we're going to look at how do you insert was into a nominal sentence. Before we get into looking into the how, it's important that we understand what was even means in English. When was is used in English, it's used in order to place a nominal sentence into the past. So let's say we have something such as Zaid is sick. That's currently happening. Zaid is currently sick. But if I were to put was in there, then that would be something of the past. Zaid was sick. The same goes for the pen is broken. If I insert was in there, the pen was broken, that implies that it's been fixed. That's something of the past. So you can take nominal sentences and you can put them into the past by using was. So how do you do that? In order to say he was, you have to use the verb kana. And for she was, you would use the verb kanat. Right? So there's just two, kana and kanat. Kana for male, kanat for female. So kana and kanat use the structure of a verbal sentence. And we said the structure of a verbal sentence is of three parts. There's the fa'il, which is a verb. In this case, it would be kana. And then there's the fa'il, which is the doer. And then there's the maf'ul, the object, the thing receiving the action. So it uses that template of those three things, and then it imposes it on a nominal sentence to make it go into the past. So it remains with its fa'il, which is kana, and then it transforms the doer, the fa'il, into ismu kana, right? And it transforms the maf'ul, the object, into khabaru kana. And these two things, ismu kana, still keeps the signs of a fa'il, which is that it will be in a state of rafa', and khabaru kana keeps the sign of maf'ul, meaning it will be in a state of nasb. So let's see what this looks like. That's all very theoretical. So we have here our fa'il, which is kana, and then we have our fa'il, which is now changed into an ismu kana, and then our maf'ul, which is changed into a khabaru kana. When you place that into a sentence, it looks like this: kana Zaydun maridan, meaning Zayd was sick. Right? Zayd was sick. So as you can see, the ismu kana is going to match the fa'il in terms of being in a state of rafa', and then the khabaru kana is going to match the maf'ul in terms of being in a state of nasb. And it will impose that structure onto a nominal sentence, and it will pretty much just add in that was. So this would be read as Zayd was sick. Let's look at a few more examples. So here we have a regular nominal sentence, and it means Zaydun mudarrisun jadidun. It's read as Zaydun mudarrisun jadidun, meaning Zayd is a new teacher. So what we have here is our mubtada, which is Zayd because it's definite. All proper names are definite. And then mudarrisun is indefinite, so it will serve as our khabar. Jadidun is actually describing mudarrisun. See, they match in the four properties. They're both indefinite, they're both masculine, they're both singular, and they're both in a state of rafa. Therefore, we have a mawsuf sifa. Jadidun, which means new, is describing mudarrisun. So it'd be translated as new teacher. So Zayd is a new teacher. We know to drop is in between mubtada and khabar. So what would happen if I just threw kana into the mix? If I put kana in there, Zayd would now become our ismu kana, and the sign of ismu kana is that it remains in a state of rafa because it's mimicking the fa'il, which is the doer in a verbal sentence. And then mudarrisan jadidan. So this would change out of a state of rafa into a state of nasb because it's mimicking the object in a verbal sentence, right? So remember, we're taking the template of a verbal sentence and we're imposing it on a nominal sentence just by throwing in kana. So kana would act as our fa'il, and then Zaydun would act as our ismu kana, and mudarrisan jadidan would act as our khabaru kana, and it'd be translated as Zayd was a new teacher. So let's look at another example. Fatimatu mudarrisatun. So this means Fatima is a teacher. If we throw kanat in there, because we're going to have to use kanat this time around because we're referring to a female, it would be kanat Fatimatu mudarrisatan. Same thing happens. The fa'il becomes ismu kana, and then the maf'ul becomes khabaru kana, right? And it will bear the same signs. So if we want to negate kana, it's the same way as negating the past tense. of a verb. We just throw a ma in the beginning. So it goes from being كانت فاطمة مدرسة, which means Fatima was a teacher, and now you just throw a ma in the beginning, it becomes ما كانت فاطمة مدرسة, meaning Fatima was not a teacher. That's it. Just by putting in the ma, we throw in that not. Let's look at another example. So كان الطالب صغيرا. So this means the student was small, right? So once again, we have kana coming in here, acting as a fi'l, and then it's imposing that structure of a verbal sentence onto a nominal sentence, turning our regular mubtada now into ismu kana. So it's going to resemble a fa'il, meaning it will be in a state of rafa. And then finally, we're going to impose onto the khabar, the khabaru kana, which is going to change it into looking like a maf'ul object. And this is translated as the student was small. If we want to negate it, all we do is add a ma in the front and it becomes the student was not small. Yeah, that's kana. Assalamu alaikum.